So this one is coming from WDSU, which is a news outlet in New Orleans. And apparently, the former CEO of Essence has filed a defamation claim against her former employer. So let's get into it. Caroline Wanga, the former CEO of Essence Ventures, filed a defamation claim Thursday, which was June 11th, 2026, against Essence Ventures and its parent company, Sundial Media and Technology Group, in New York State Court. So Wanga served as the CEO of Essence Ventures from June 2020 until she resigned in March 2025, according to the release. So Essence Ventures manages Essence Magazine as we know it, Afropunk, BeautyCon, and Essence Studios. So Wanga's lawsuit is claiming that Essence Ventures and Sundial failed to publicly state that Wanga had no role in planning or running the 2025 Essence Festival of Culture, which began July 4th, 2025. Now, as y'all know, there was a lot of controversy around Essence 2025. And this kind of goes into, I guess, some of the things that I do like to cover and things that I do like to talk about. But if you remember, people were complaining about the Pan-African nature of, well, not nature, but the direction, the Pan-African direction of the festival. Now, people weren't outright saying like, oh, we don't want to see that type of representation. But the issue was that they felt like the Black American culture, which Essence Fest is known for and has always been known for, was being erased. And this new Pan-African type movement deal was being ushered in. And I think it's important to note that it's not just, oh, we don't want to see this in Essence. It was during a time, as we see now, with a lot of different things converging, and Black Americans are just being more vocal about community and culture and different things that are relevant to our community being protected. So that's why people were so critical. One thing that I remember, and I'm like, how could y'all ever think that this was okay? But one big thing was there was like a competition, a cooking competition of some sort, where it was like jollof versus jambalaya. Like, how could you do that in New Orleans? You know, very tone deaf, very like disrespectful to the culture of the city, the place that you're at, what this festival was known for. So in my opinion, the controversy, the complaints, all of those things were valid. You know, you can feel how you want to feel if you like it, if you didn't have a problem with it. But we're looking at a bigger picture. This is something that we're seeing across so many different industries, in so many different spaces, from housing to the entertainment industry, the film industry, which is part of the entertainment industry, music industry. There is just a lot going on, even from voting and policy and just the work that these politicians are putting in. Black Americans feel neglected. We feel like our culture is being erased, our history is being erased. And this is just an example. It may not seem harmful for the ill-informed, but if you really are following politics, you're following the grassroots and what people are saying, these small stories that don't get covered on mainstream media, this is part of a bigger thing that's going on when it comes to protecting Black American spaces specifically. So the controversy was, I would say, important to take note of, because it was one of the times that I really saw there being widespread criticism about this sort of erasure happening. So according to Wanga's legal team, they're saying that Essence Ventures and Sundial, which is the parent company, didn't correct the public narrative that Wanga was involved in the festival. Basically saying that, you know, she got all this criticism, but it wasn't her. You know, she wasn't even involved. So the article goes on to say the release said critics blamed Wanga for the festival's Pan-African focus and for the selection of Target Corporation, her former employer, as a corporate sponsor. So the release said that those decisions were criticized by some who viewed them as a shift away from Essence's long-standing focus on African American culture. Target, we know, was the center of a big controversy about DEI initiatives, which was crazy because, again, feel how you feel. If you know that DEI does not really benefit Black Americans, but that was the thing that people jumped on. So even still, Essence was very tone deaf in having Target sponsor that. There's a way to do everything, right? Like, my professional background is public relations, communication. So there is a way to do things. It's about how you do it, the strategy that you use. I personally would have been the first person at the table saying, listen, I don't care how much money Target is throwing, they cannot sponsor this. Like, this is not the year, okay? Like, not this year. They cannot do this unless they make some sort of commitment to ease the concerns, or address, not even just ease, but address the concerns of the Black Americans who have an issue with them switching up. So it also says that at the time of the festival actually taking place, Wanga was on leave from her CEO role and had been since September 2024. And she had actually decided to leave the position in March. So as you know, Essence Fest is always in July. So they're saying she was on leave from her role. She had resigned, but it wasn't made public that she had resigned. So it said that Essence and Sundial had asked her to delay any public announcement of her departure until after the festival. And Wanga and her legal team agreed, according to what was included in the release. So because of that delay, they're saying that people believe she was still the CEO when the festival took place, though she had no role in the festival's planning or execution. And it continues to say, the release said public backlash grew in the weeks after the festival and included threats against Wanga and her family. Wanga and her legal team repeatedly asked Essence and Sundial leaders to correct the record, according to the release. It also says that they wanted them to, issue this statement. It said that leadership refused to issue the statement. Essence later announced her departure as CEO on August 25th, nearly 2 months after the festival. So I guess what she's saying is, in reality, she'd already stepped away and was no longer in that role. However, they didn't announce it until after the festival. And I guess maybe she's saying that her reputation was harmed because of this, because it does look like she left because of the failure of the festival and all of the criticism, how people were saying, it was done. I mean, it was a really big deal, if you can remember. So she's saying that her reputation was harmed. Her company suffered damages because it's a consulting venture focused on personal and professional development. So they're wanting Essence basically to correct this narrative. Now, I can't say whether or not this woman was actually there or not. I think that to file the lawsuit another year, more than a year after she was gone, that's kind of like, I would have done it immediately. I would have done it immediately before even the festival or somewhere during that time. It just kind of makes it look like, I don't know, like for me, it gives that, no, this is just a way for her to try to salvage her reputation. Like, she sat there and thought, well, I'm not getting any business. Don't nobody want to mess with me. It's because it is. Let me blame them, because I don't believe that even if you did resign in March, this festival was in July. You're telling me, well, she was saying that she was on leave in September. So leave in September, the festival is in July. I don't believe that she didn't have a role in planning this festival. I mean, she is of African descent. I didn't look up her background. I do remember that she's of African descent. I just cannot see her not having a role in or not having influenced the direction of the festival. Maybe you weren't in the staff meetings every week. Maybe you did not sign off on everything, but to say as CEO as late as September 2024 for a huge annual festival happening in July that you had no role in, I'm not buying it. Personally, I'm just not. I have been part of too many teams putting together events, putting together campaigns, and the CEO is very much involved. depending on how big the event is. And for something like Essence, again, I am almost certain that that woman had a hand in playing it, and maybe that this is a play to try to get some money back or again salvage her reputation. I think the damage is done. She's going to have to go to some African centric businesses. Definitely people are not going to hire her in the African American space. Not if they know the history and know this. In fact, it kind of had died down, and she's bringing it up right before another Essence Festival is supposed to take place. So the timing of this is suspicious. I don't know if I'm buying her version of how all this went down, especially if the companies aren't like leaving or making any type of comments on their own. I know this story is still developing, so maybe we'll see some more info or find out some more info in the coming weeks. I don't know, especially as Essence Fest comes is coming up. Let me know if y'all are going. I've only been to Essence Fest once. I think it was 2014. It's been a very long time. I had a great time. I was living maybe like an hour away from New Orleans at the time, and I was like, my friend was there. She had some extra space in her room. She was like, yeah, come on. So I went and I had a good time. I was there for an influencer event. That was when I was blowing up and didn't know I was blowing up. But I was there with all like the big influencers that you see now. But yeah, that's an interesting development. Let me know what y'all think. Are y'all buying her story? Do you feel like Essence threw her under the bus? Or do you think she's lying about her involvement? Let me know in the comments. Did you enjoy this clip? You can watch the full episode of Tell Me More on Patreon. Full episodes are available for both paid and free members. All you have to do is click the link in the description box to join and watch. See you there.